Hey everyone, Tomorrow and Lucy here at Gamescom 2024, and Lucy just played Life is Strange Double Exposure. I was just rubbing it and looking over,
Yep,
making
were
sure,
watching.
keep an eye on it, but
making sure I was making all the right decisions.
Correct decisions, make sure you're looking and reading at everything.
Which I
but
did.
yeah, it's a continuation of the Max Caulfield story, which is a surprise, but what was it like?
Life is Strange came out 10 years ago, episodic, choice-driven, narrative adventure about a girl who can rewind time. I was not expecting to see Max back. However, at this point in her life, she is in college and her best friend is murdered. And basically she tries to rewind time and figures out that she can't do it anymore. What she can do is slip into an alternate timeline where that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so she hasn't used that power in a really long time.
No.
And then she tries it and it's like, it's evolved into something else.
Yes, and so what's interesting is that, you know, at the end of the original Life is Strange, the end of the 5th episode, like a pretty big world, or at least town-altering event happens. And what's interesting about Double Exposure is that they are honoring both of those endings in
the
two timelines in a very kind of unique way. So this is a Deck 9 game. Don't Nod made the original. I will say, after following Deck 9 for a number of years, when they first started working on Life is Strange through to things like the Expanse game and Life is Strange True Colors, the performances, like I remember the original Life is Strange was very, very wooden in terms of how the characters would react and emote. This one, like, there were really great subtle facial micro expressions, which were just like very, very impressive. I was playing a little bit in chapter 2, and so now the police are getting involved, and one of Max's friends, Moses, had taken what could potentially be a piece of evidence, and so Max has to use her shifting power to kind of get this piece of evidence before the police finds it. If you've played the medium, I guess would be a very easy sort of analog with the dual timeline thing, and like some things will be in one timeline, not in the other. So I was shifting back, and you can only shift in certain areas too. Like there's a little glow, you can go over there and shift. And it was pretty quick, pretty seamless. But yeah, some things will be in one timeline and not the other. And I was going back and forth to basically solve a rudimentary sort of puzzle. To figure out where this item, this contraband was, to make sure that my friend didn't get in trouble. As someone who liked the original Life is Strange a lot, it was really nice to see a lot of throwbacks. Max obviously has a mobile phone. She has texts from other characters who you might recognize or remember from the original game. It seems it's very much got that Life is Strange DNA. Like I felt like I knew immediately what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to do it.
As someone who was just watching, the thing that really stood out to me was Max as an older character is very interesting because
she still has a bad joke.
She has her bad jokes, which are funny, but there's a guardedness around her where you wouldn't expect that from someone who's been through what she has. So like it's really interesting the way they characterize her, and they do have a lot of other strong personalities. One that really stood out is the police officer that's investigating. Alderman. He already has this kind of like almost sleazy vibe to him. He's very disrespectful of like Moses it was, and slightly to Max. And it feels like they're setting up this guy is, you know, cold as ice, but eventually might, you know, melt, or is like doing it for the right thing.
You couldn't hear the voice acting, but when he was talking to Max, sort of like towards the end of that demo, like he was much softer and much nicer, and like desperately just been like, hey, we want to get to the bottom of what happened to your friend. And Life is Strange kind of like lives or dies on those moments. I feel like the characterization, the humanization. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, very brief glimpse of what the game is going to be.
There's also that one final thing which was really cool, where her power evolves again. Where like she like somehow manifests something from another timeline.
A giant telescope.
Which was just in parts in front of her, and then she's like, damn, I wish this telescope was there, and it pops up, and she's like, oh. So it seems like they are coming up with new mechanics and building puzzles around it, which is very cool.
And I mean, it definitely still has that Life is Strange earnestness. Kind of the bad jokes, you know, there's so many things to interact with, and it definitely still has that kind of like hand-drawn sort of texture to it in terms of like some of the accoutrement in the actual game itself. But I really liked what I played. It felt kind of like coming home, like I knew exactly what this game was and how to interact with it, and so I'm very intrigued to see more. Obviously, I really hope that the mystery at the end of it is really good, and I really hope I get to make some really impactful decisions. Like pancakes or waffles again. That was facetious, but there are some really big decisions from the original game that I really enjoyed and like really stuck with me.
Yeah.
And so I really hope to see more of that.
Yeah, very excited to play more of that, especially with Deck 9 having gone through so many games before that. Their writing has improved massively, so has their like performance and the way they put games together. But yeah, we'll see more of that game in the future, we hope, and we'll bring you all of our opinions on that here at GameSpot.